Good evening, everyone. Our seminar will start in 2 minutes. Good evening, everyone. Once again, welcome to join our seminar, How to Develop Wisdom for Better Resilience and Leadership. Wilson Yao, VP of Programs from PMI Hong Kong chapter. Again, please have a look at this page. Marketing update. So if you haven't liked our Facebook, LinkedIn, or PMI chapter website, please scan the QR code and do so. We have a lot of events, exciting events for members and for you as well. Next. Upcoming training or seminar. So you can see there are lots of trainings and seminar where are coming. For example, the power of analogy, ability of generating unlimited idea in the AI era, innovation coach, the new role of PMPs and innovation and AI age, selling and buying through tenders, project risk management, project negotiation skills workshop, design system thinking for smart city course, Scrum leadership, PMI professional business analysis as well for exam preparation. So if you want to join any seminar, please stay close with us. And then there are lots of upcoming trainings course for you. So for upcoming training, so we also have content skills for PMP in AI era, stakeholder management in projects, high order thinking for PMP, the way of managing complex problem in AI era, advanced problem solving skills in AI era as well. So basically now we got an age, it's AI age. So that's why we have lots of course related to help all of you, to all of you as well. Next. Let's just do some admin to mute the new joiner first. Okay. So if you have any question, please feel free to contact us. There's a telephone, WhatsApp, email, whichever means which can suit you. To contact us in case you have any question. So here comes our seminar today, how to develop your wisdom for better resilience. So actually mentally challenged people are treated to develop some specific competency, and also so you can build and develop your wisdom. So helping you to become more resilient and a respected leader who can help. Actually, Thomas have a lot of topics for us to choose as well. But we hope that definitely with his wisdom and also with experience as even as a PMI director before, it will be great for us to learn more wisdom from him, for us to equip us to have a better resilience and see how to lead the team as well. Let's. Sorry, there's some technical issue. Here comes the profile of our speaker. Mr. Thomas has worked on projects, programs, and PMO since 1974 and selected project manager as his profession in 1988. So he holds PMP, PGMP certification as well. He worked for IBM clients in diverse industry geographies for 31 years. In parallel, he also served as volunteer since 1998 as PMI Hong Kong, PMI Charter President, PMI Board Director. He received PMI Fellow Award in 2012, a global speaker at conference, publisher of book chapter, and in several media outlets. He received a diploma qualification as a non-executive director from ILD UK as well. Thomas mentors about 10 users concurrently. So he's a great mentor. Why not have a round of applause to welcome Thomas to share the topic for us? Welcome, Thomas. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Wilson. Happy to be here with your chapter and your audience.
So everyone can just feel free to turn on your mic or type in chat room. Yeah. So for Hong Kong members, they usually type in chat room as well.
let's get this started. Okay, guys.
Hello, Thomas. How are you today?
I'm great, Michael. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. So, Wilson, you want me to start?
Yes.
Good.
Just give some time to do the PowerPoint tab first. Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you, Wilson, for preparing that speech. So, I had a small discussion with Wilson this morning about bananas and how Hong Kongers use bananas. And, I'm asking the question how to open a banana. And it's not really that I want an answer from you now in the chat, but most of us in Europe, we open a banana this way, we take it at the stem and break it open. And when I was retired in 2014, so it's now 11 years, I had more time to watch TV and I saw some documentaries about monkeys and how they open bananas. And I learned they open bananas from the opposite side, from the blossom. And, at the blossom end. And I was saying, okay, that's another perspective. So what you can really see here, you are never too old to learn new stuff. I was about 60 years, 61 years. Think out of the box, look at it from another side, and maybe the problem becomes another problem. And I found this blossom opening sometimes easier than the stem opening, because the stem is sometimes very hard and you may have to cut it or bite it, but on the blossom you push it in and it's quite easy to open it. And you can even learn from monkeys, so don't be too convinced by yourself that you can find every solution. That's and all of this change perspectives, learn from monkeys, never too old to learn. That's a part of building your wisdom, because if you learn a lot about different ways to solve problems and to look at things, you will become better in your portfolio of reactions to problems that come around and hit you. So I'm talking today about wisdom, because what is wisdom and how to build it and why to build it, because wisdom is somehow the ability to live your life in a good way, that you are satisfied and that you are developing yourself and can overcome any challenges that come into your way. In Hong Kong, I just was in Hong Kong in January for a week, and I met some of your chapter leaders and Denny Chang, and we had a nice dinner together. And I really love your city. I've been there not many times, but maybe 5, 6 times, and I always enjoyed it. And Hong Kong is a good example of how to survive and to thrive. There are a lot of problems coming up to Hong Kong over the time, but we are still not only are you here survived, but you also are developing new capabilities and new ways of thinking. You are a very attractive city for every traveler in the world, and I will certainly come back to you. Talking about you are caring and helping because you are a project manager or in the field of project management, and you're trying to satisfy your customers and your stakeholders and make things happen. That's what you are doing. And this event, is intended to surprise you, to give you some new ideas, to make you curious, and to extend your views. And if you didn't know how to open a banana from the other side. You decide what you want to do with that presentation, and I will give you some references, some books, some quotes. If you want to do something with it, if you want to follow up, want to learn more about the concepts presented, if you want to connect to me or to others in this room, and if you want to improve your ethics and your wisdom. We are all here together in this webinar to support project management. We are a group of professionals, and we want to learn. All of us want to learn, otherwise we wouldn't be in a webinar. And we need to be fair to ourselves, so share openly and fair to our clients, fair to our peers, and fair to the world. And then I think we can increase our ethical behaviors, and make the world a better place. So these are 5 statements I just told you, and I hope you feel quite well with these statements, because these statements are not only here to make a ring around this webinar so that we are all in one room now, but also they are looking at 5 triggers for emotions. It's your status. I said you are a project manager, certainty about what will come in this presentation. I didn't give you an agenda, but I gave you some ideas what you can expect, and some autonomy. You can decide what to do with that. Relatedness, we are all together, and fairness. So I discussed about these 5 triggers for emotions, and these 5 triggers, so they are together a tool to improve emotional intelligence. And you can use it with yourself and with others. The tool is called SCARF. And SCARF was written in a book by David Rock some 15 years ago, which is called Your Brain at Work. I recommend this book because it gives very good examples how to use these 5 triggers to your benefit, and also to overcome maybe critical situations. So first of all, these 5 triggers, if they are triggered positively, you feel respected, you feel valued. Certainty gives you some courage, some hope, some idea where it could end, some positive scenario. Autonomy gives you the feeling of to be empowered, do something with it. It's in your decision making. Relatedness gives us all a feeling of being protected by the group, and by this kind of mentality in the group. And fairness is one of the most important triggers that help us get positive emotions, equality, diversity. All these things are covered by the trigger of fairness. But you can also trigger these same um, 5 things, negatively, and you can see it in politics or somewhere. So if I attack your status, you feel inferior, you feel attacked, you might get angry at it, emotional. If I don't give you any certainty, if I instill still some fear in you, you don't feel good, and you lack rational thinking and decision making, and that's a bad thing. If I withdraw your autonomy, or I put you into jail, or I force you into something, then you also feel bad. That's why it's always better if you sell something, not to give these guys your solution to be sold, and that's all that's there. There's no other option. No, you always give them options to choose, but you might recommend your own option, or solution, so they don't feel forced. Relatedness. If you are not related to anybody, if you are kicked out of a team, kicked out of a company, then you feel lonely. It's very negative emotions and fears and steals. And fairness, the same thing. If it's unjust, uh, so unfairness is one of the most violent triggers that even triggers terrorism or other things. So all terrorists somehow have the unfairness in their brain, and all of these emotions, even the positive emotions, are meant to instill a mindset, and that enables us to act intuitively and not rationally. So we don't need a lot of data. If we feel respected and valued, we acknowledge this and we accept it and we love it. And but we should be aware of it, that it's being imposed by the guy who gives us this status reinforcement. So this is a tool I give you to use it. I use it in many of my presentations. I use it in my team meetings to make sure that these 5 blue stars are being enforced, and that people are not really on the red side of this triggers. Now, another topic regarding this wisdom is ethics, because wise people always are ethical. And what does it mean? How to become aware of your own ethical values? Because also violations and observations of ethical values trigger emotions. If unfairness is certainly one of these. So there was a guy called Rushworth Kidder. He passed away 10 years or so. And his whole life he researched about morals and ethics. And so one of his research, he traveled the world and had a lot of surveys in tribes and in countries and cultures. And he found out that there are 8 human values that can be found almost everywhere. And these human values are first, the first 4 are, well, by chance, are exactly the values that are mentioned in the PMI Code of Ethics and Professional Responsibility. And these are the value of responsibility, respect, fairness again, and honesty and truth and integrity. So these 4 values are the ground layer of the PMI Code of Ethics. And from these 4 values, the code specifies some recommended actions and some potential violations. And if you underwrite this code because you are a certified PMP or you are a member of PMI, then you adhere to these values and the code of ethics. If you violate them, there is a ethics review committee at PMI consisting of I think 15 or so volunteers. And I was a volunteer in this committee for 6 years. And these volunteers look at potential violations. So there are complaints coming in against people who seem to violate one or many of these things. And then the committee will evaluate these, look for evidence. And if the person is found in violation, they will sanction that person. And the most deep sanction would be the removal of any PMI certification and PMI membership and the publication of that. So this is damaging for a career, for sure. But there are not too many people who are published, but there are many more who are just having a slap on the face, and don't do it again. And often they don't do it again. So these are the 4 values you should know as a PMI member. And then Rashad Kidder found 4 other values, and maybe you can agree with them. There is a value of making autonomous decisions or your own decisions, have a freedom. And, the freedom is certainly a value that is very much valued in the Western world and in the US. The freedom is the one thing they all strive for. We also see, maybe not in the US so much, but in many cultures, the value of community, being part of a family, being related to others, lifelong to your siblings, to your parents, to your kids, but also if you are a member of PMI, there's a saying, it's a good thing if you are a member of PMI because you have so many good experiences together with others, and they can work in communities and teams and so on. And then there is the value of compassion, care, love, help. And you can see this value blossoming, especially in critical situations. If you have catastrophes, disasters, then everybody helps everybody else, even if there is not much resources to help, but compassion, care, love in times of threats, external threats. Think of COVID, then we had in Germany very many people who are taking care of the sick, and these are very much valued and helped for. And then we have the value number 8 by Rashad Kidder, which is the value of being humble, not bragging around, but understanding that you are not the center of the world. You are just an inhabitant of this world and a member of 9 billion people on the world, and make sure you understand your role and your position and serve others. Your humility is maybe not so much observed in all of the cultures Rushworth looked at, but I think it's a basic value that underscores and supports the other values very much. And if you have any questions, by the way, don't hesitate to ask them, to put them in the chat maybe, so we can have a discussion over time if you want. Interesting thing is, we sometimes talk values and beliefs, but beliefs are this paradigms that are agreed on in a group. A nation might believe in something, but it might not be really a human value. And the human values, all of them, unite people regardless where they are from. If you are visiting the world and go into another culture, and you will look for these values. If you show them, you will have a positive reaction. But if you, let's say, believe in one God and there's another God, there is a division and there is a potential of conflict and a potential of this discussion. So it's very important to distinguish between values and beliefs, because they are two different things. So if you get back to the scarf, to the 5 triggers of emotions, these are related to these values. Certainty with responsibility, status with respect. I respect you, so I respect your status, who you are and what you have done. Fairness is one-to-one. Autonomy is one-to-one, and relatedness is also with community and one-to-one. Let me tell you a story about leadership, about resilience, about ethical behavior, about the values. So there was a girl from Damascus in Syria, and so she was a swimming champion in Syria, so for the Syrian nation, 17 years old, and then she took her sister and somebody else, and they tried to flee Syria. And what they did, they went to Turkey. Here's a Turkish shore, and they want to go to the island of Lesbos, because Lesbos is not Turkey. Lesbos is belonging to Greece, and Greece is belonging to the European Union. So they wanted to go from Turkey to the European Union, and they took a boat. And it's about 25 kilometers distance. So it's depending on the weather and the waves, it's not so safe to go there. And on that, they took a boat. It was a dinghy. It was designed for 6 people, and it was loaded with 19. And what happened? The motor stopped. They could see the shores of the island of Lesbos already, but the motor stopped. The boat took water, and what to do. So Yusra is a good swimmer, swimming champion. She could easily have swum from the boat to the shore. It was maybe, I don't know, 2-3 kilometers or whatever. But she jumped into the sea. She was followed by 3 others, and they took on the boat. They kept it afloat, and they pulled it slowly towards the shore. The others, meanwhile, worked on the motor and the engine, and they were successful in restarting it after 3 hours, and all were saved. So this is an example of, a great leader, because she had a vision. The vision was the shore of Lesbos, and she had the vision everybody on the boat, 19 people, would arrive at this shore, safe and alive. She took action, jumping into the sea. And not only her own action, but her action instilled all the action by others. And together, they kept the boat going, and the others were motivated to try to work on the motor. And in the end, results were there. So every leader, you has a vision, where to go, take some action, and make sure that results are being achieved. Not maybe 100% results for the vision, but that it's sufficient to fulfill the vision in its meaning. Yusra. The question is now, ethical decision making, how can it be achieved? And there is a stepwise process which was documented in Harvard Business Review. And this is a paper, Building an Ethical Career, and I recommend you to read it, to look at Harvard Business Review and draw this paper. And I somehow pictured that process for you on this slide. So plan and prepare for being an ethical person, a good person, and what can you do for that? You can look at your eulogy virtues. Okay, what are these virtues? These are the virtues that you want to have on your gravestone, and on your gravestone there would not be a virtue like he was a rich person, or he killed so and so many people. These may be achievements in your life, but maybe you are not proud of, and they are not sustainable. When I once was in New Zealand, I met a Maori guy, normal guy, and he was part of a NGO in New Zealand who took care about a beach, and they preserved the beach animals. There were some turtles and whatever, birds, and the NGO's task was to make sure this beach can develop by its own and can be preserved and is taken care of. And he said, the vision of our NGO is to become a good ancestor. It's nothing you will ever experience by yourself in your life, because you are dead when you are an ancestor. And if you have been good, this will be judged by people far down the road, maybe hundreds of years. And but if you have this kind of vision, which you will never see being fulfilled, you act accordingly, and that is an origin virtue you want to have on your graveyard. There could be standing he tried to become a good ancestor. That's a nice origin version. You can also more practically, prepare scenarios. So what if this situation arises? What would I do? And you might know already when you have some troubles to finding the right solution, ethically right solution. If you are a manager, you might be obliged to lay off people, to fire them. But on the other hand, their social environment is not so positive, and there's always this struggle between what to do, and how to do that. And if you know your weak points and the points where you're always struggling with, why not prepare a scenario on a whiteboard, and say, okay, if that happens, what would be my options and which would be the decision criteria? So this would be something that you prepare yourself to face these critical scenarios again. Let people know that you are working on yourself to become a more ethical person. Why not you, your friend, your wife, your whatever, and maybe you find somebody who has the same idea, and then you can work together. Get a mentor for becoming an ethical person, not a mentor to become a PMP or whatever in career, but maybe somebody who you really admire, who is a role model, who has always good solutions for something, and then just to mirror with him your situations and your thinking, and establish supportive habits. Like if you prepare a scenario, what to do, and then you can say, okay, I will try to put this behavior into my automatic behavioral toolbox, your habits and what you do that. And all of this, can be supported, if you know that, by these 8 values that Rashford Kidder provided with us. So we might want to look at those. So that's preparing every day. You're doing this. And this is a virtue in itself, because if you are starting to think about ethical values, then you will automatically get better in understanding them and judging them. So now you have a situation. Day to day, you come into this situation, and now, you are requested to take a decision for something. So first thing is stay calm, get around your fears, get around your hate or whatever you have, emotions. Emotions are bad for making rational decisions. And rational decisions are decisions we in hindsight we say, yes, we made our best effort to decide based on rationality, based on data, what we have. It's not to say that we maybe after 2 years we have a better decision in mind, but at this point of time we have these resources, this knowledge, and this behavior. But if it was a decision that was made based on emotions, based on hate, on fear, on anger, then it is never a good decision in the hindsight also. Always, if you make a decision, try to find multiple perspectives. Remember, like with a banana, this was a simple thing. If you say, okay, I can't open this banana because the stem is too hard, try this one, put it on the blossom and just open it. And you will always find a perspective. We will come back to that. Resist social pressure. So people might tell you, you have to make a decision now, today. Resist that, it's your decision, it's your ethic, it's your responsibility to impact others' lives. So take your time, and maybe get help. Maybe, if you have a very difficult decision, you might get help from uh, like your HR department with firing somebody, or the legal department, or your mentor, or maybe your organization has an ombudsman to do that. There is more help in the area than you think of now if you haven't looked for that. Um, And then after your day, after you made this one big decision, or maybe you will find out that every day you make about 10 big decisions, actually, but it's not conscious now. But then it will be conscious, and then, still you say, okay, I'm not sure if I had the right decisions. There's still a dilemma in my thinking. Share these with your mentor, with others, or ask them, for feedback. How I decided this way. How did you feel with that? Were you satisfied? Make sure that you get the impressions and the empathy of others towards you. So if you have to make unethical decisions all the time, and you are not satisfied with that, I recommend really to avoid unethical people in unethical places. So if you're not feeling well in this environment, if you're feeling bullied or asked to do bad things all the time, yeah, so look for something else. Because in the end, if you're there for half a year, you will probably get a mental problem, because you are not satisfied with yourself and you're questioning yourself and you're doing that. So this is the process, the 3 steps, how to prepare yourself for ethical decisions, become a better person. And I think it's easy to follow, and it's some work, but you can read the article and try to start with that. Plan and prepare is self-awareness. You become aware of your own values, of your own weaknesses, in making these decisions. Self-control is the fact that you don't act emotionally if you are confronted with decision making, and rehearsing it, and thinking back what happened today in this respect builds your resilience, because it improves your self-awareness, and your self-confidence. We talked about resilience, and now let's have a look at resilience. And again, there is a Harvard Business Review article who looks at resilience and presents 6 principles. And basically, these 6 principles are what they derived from biology. They look at the human skin or in plants or in animals, when are they resilient in which situations, and what are maybe some core concepts that are behind that. And so 6 principles. 3 of them are related to the structure of the system that is resilient. The system could be you. The system could be an organization. The system could be whatever has several components working together for a purpose. So the first thing is the structure. And the structure should be modular. So because, if you have a module and that module is failing or not behaving well in the situation, then you can maybe replace that module. And what is a module? A module is maybe a black box who does something with defined interfaces. So if you have a big system which is all like spaghetti code, everything connected with everything, then yeah, it will be a chaos, not easily to deconstruct and to replace things. But modules are replaceable. They have interconnected parts, known interfaces, and as example, if you have a company and your supply chain system, looking at that, modularity is that if you need to transport something from, let's say, Asia to Europe, you have different modules you can replace and that can support each other to have the transport by airplane, by ship, by whatever, ship different routes, different providers, So this is one structural principle that should be there. For yourself, if you look at your, let's say, career as a project manager, you are a project manager and it's a system, because you can provide different skills and experiences and competencies to customers and to your project sponsors. So modularity means that you have interchangeable capabilities. You can do some estimating in different ways. I have maybe 5 estimating modules, and they can be exchanged depending on the context, on the type of projects I have here. Second structural principle is redundancy. Make sure that you have for any one task different ways to do it, because one way might break down, and then you have not a backup and a check and everything. So I think it's very clear that you have redundancy. It's like with my 5 estimating modules. So somebody wants to ask a question? No. And then diversity, heterogeneity, multiple options, different perspectives. We talked about different perspectives already. Have different ways to do that. So if you look at the supply chain problem, diversity is okay. I'm not only going by ship from Asia to Europe, but I can also go by plane or by other means, by train, whatever there are different means. So be that. And then we have 3 principles related to behaviors, to the dynamics of the system. So how does the system behave? So first of all, the system is mindful. It knows what it's doing in every moment. It monitors itself. It's prudent. It's expecting surprises in terms of external disruptions, maybe. Yeah. So if you have this, you will not go into a situation blindfolded, because you will recognize the situation and you will have the time to make decisions, about the situation. Embeddedness, and that's, for me, it's one of the most important things. The system, is a system because we have a lot of components interrelated, one purpose, and then we go for it. And there is a boundary for the system. We have something in the system, but then what's of most importance is the context of the system. In which environment does the system need to survive and strive and grow and everything? So we have to be always monitoring the context. And I think as Chinese, you know it very well. It's in Chinese culture that you not only look at something which is embedded in a circle, but you always know that the environment has a lot of impact on what you are doing. If it's a project, a program, or your life, the environment is having a huge impact on how you're doing that. As a side effect, we always discuss the term of success of projects. So when is a project successful? Yeah, in scope, in time, in budget. It's the old golden triangle, but we understand that no, it's successful when stakeholders like it, stakeholders are satisfied. But I think even more success is determined by the context. Because the context, most of the stakeholders that are not working in the project, they are outside of the project. They are part of the context. But even then, if you look at the long-term consequences, of a project or the program, there are stakeholders in the context that will determine if your project was a good success at this time. Was it sustainable? Have you been a good ancestor? No, these are the things that in the long term will determine the success of any project and program. And then we have that what we today have is agile, I call it adaptability, they call it adaptability, flexibility, sensing, feedback loops. So make sure that not only, you can react to outside environments, but that also the system itself can fluctuate, can be dynamic. So efficiency is not a target to be resilient. If you are efficient, you have no float to fill with some thinking. So what you really should strive for is effectiveness, benefits, value. All these are things that are outcomes really related of your projects. And efficiency is, yeah, you wanna have low cost, no waste. But no waste is good for production, repetitive production, but it's detrimental to the success of projects and resilience of yourself. To be resilient, you need some free room to think about and to act. So this is some discussion about resilience. You can look it up again in Harvard Business Review from 2016. So, coming to the topic of this session, we had some preparatory definitions and concepts. What is wisdom? So there is a medical definition of wisdom, and wisdom is a group of competencies for patients that help the patients to mitigate mental problems. There might be big mental problems like suicidal things, or just burnout, or there are a lot of mental problems. And if you think about mental problems that persist, maybe 10 to 15% of all people, that's a big deal. So if you have these competencies, how to mitigate them, how to bring them down, how to repair them at best, you might also think that these competencies would help you to avoid the mental problems. Preemptive strike against mental problems. That is wisdom. And there was a book by two psychiatrists in Berlin, in Germany, and that's why it's in German. I'm sorry for that. But they talked about competencies for wisdom and therapy for wisdom. And they reported on these 10 competencies. I will share in the next slides. There's also a definition of wisdom in Wikipedia, the ability to contemplate and act using knowledge, experience, understanding, common sense, and insight. So that's something, yeah, you might say, if I have all these, I have a knowledge, experience, understanding, common sense, and insight, then probably I will overcome any problems that come to me and I will not get mentally sick. There's also philosophical definitions, and some say it's wisdom is how to make sense of your life. With wisdom, you have some principles, some thinking, some interpretations of reality, some ideas how you can survive, and tackle everything. Even Aristotle, the famous Greek philosopher 500 before Christ, he called this wisdom phronesis, which translates today to practical wisdom, And there is not a philosophical, abstract wisdom. No, it's a practical wisdom because it helps you survive. It helps you thrive. It helps you to stay mentally healthy in a chaotic environment. That's what Aristotle talked about. It's experience with judgment of what is good or bad for humans. Good for humans. And helps to overcome any situation life presents to us. So this is, if you look at philosophical definitions of wisdom and cultural, a wise man. Who is a wise man? Who is a sage? It's in Chinese culture, I learned, it's about someone who can use the situation, the context in this particular moment, and to jump to something what's being offered. And in the Western cultural context, it's more to use other people to enforce something and so on. So that's the definition of wisdom. Now let's come to the 10 competencies. And not all of them are maybe big surprises. Some of them are very well known, but the combination makes the wisdom definition. And maybe some of them are really enforceable. It depends on you. Maybe you are good at 8 of them, and you didn't think that 2 of them are relevant for you. But then maybe that's the point where you look at these two and say, okay, what can they help me to become better in wisdom? So changing perspectives, we talked about that. That's the first thing. Empathy, understanding what others think and feel, not only people, but also maybe organizations. Be aware, third point, be aware and accept your own emotions, So self-awareness and understand the triggers when you get angry or get emotional. Fourth, emotional balance, serenity, that's self-control, So you are calm if a dilemma comes to you and you can act like that. And then number 5 is knowledge. And some people say, okay, wisdom is knowledge because you have experienced so much. But not only, and there are two kinds of knowledge that these doctors refer to, the knowledge about facts. So I know about project management estimating principles, But the second kind of knowledge is not knowing about what, but knowing how to do things, how to solve problems, how to do that. Contextualism, I talked about context already. You are living your life, your system, you are your system, and then there's big context, all the universe, which might have sometimes an impact on you, and you always have to look at that context, which helps you to find new perspectives. By the way, relativism for values. You understand your own values, your self-confidence and your self-awareness, but you don't think they are non-negotiable, They are relative to others because we live together with 9 billion people almost, and now everybody might have another view on values, though if you dig deep, you probably find these 8 values, in everybody. But some people would say, freedom is the number 1 value I cherish, and then you have to put that into perspective again. Oriented towards sustainability, which is long-term thinking, which is that you understand that you want to become a good ancestor. Uncertainty tolerance. So can you tolerate that there is uncertainty, or are you immediately getting into panic and having a fear, and from the fear have a lot of anger or despair or whatever? This should not be the reactions you should show, and you can work on this. How to improve your tolerance for uncertainty. And as a project manager, every project you enter is uncertain. And if you don't have a certain tolerance on uncertainty, you will not be a good project manager. And then self-distance or humility, So you are not center of the world and you are inside yourself. So if you have the ability to step outside yourself and observe yourself from the outer side, then that's called self-distance. And you can embolden this capability. So these 10 capabilities, competencies, have been together called visions by these psychiatrists. How to improve? Now let's go through the 10 competencies a little bit more in detail. So we have competence to change perspectives. Now you would say, okay, I have different perspectives, but how to improve, change roles. So be an actor in some sense. If you take a role, you have a different perspective because you have to understand the thinking of that role person, Try 7 hats. Look up De Bono, 7 hats, it's especially that. So he has 7 different hats you put on, and then you have a specific role and point of view and perspective. Design thinking helps you a lot because in design thinking, you're always looking into different options for problem solutions, but also in perspectives on the problem itself. walk in other shoes, focus out there. A lot of things you can do to improve your competence to change perspectives. And the good examples from history are Solomonic solutions, the Gordic knot that was pushed through by Alexander the Great. There are a lot of examples for that. Related, no, this competence is related to values like respect, tolerance, diversity, and related concepts you might read about is cognitive flexibility. Interesting word. And mental fluidity. If you want to have new perspectives, you could look up these in Google and see what is offered there. So this glass half full. Actually, yeah, how many sticks are there? No sticks. This is a problem of the drawing. Perspectives. Everybody's thinking something else, different colors, different shapes, but we all know that we have the same agreement. That's the case if you have intercultural projects, and look at different things. Empathy, and we know empathy, it's a part of emotional intelligence, and there are a lot of courses and ideas and books about improving your empathy. The main thing is to focus away from the inside towards the outside. A good tool to start with if you want to improve your empathy is active listening. So look it up. There are maybe about 10 active listening techniques you could use, and then you go out and just improve your active listening. Maybe in 2 weeks, every day you do some of these tasks, and then you will see how you improve your empathy. Empathy is related to compassion, to care, love, help, to this value. The competence to be aware of and accept your own emotions, that's also part of emotional intelligence, and it's about self-awareness, about confidence, and examples are, so if you have grief or joy, you are crying in the movie, you are laughing, you understand why are you crying from a movie, or when are you starting to hate somebody, and if you think about it, you can avoid these emotions and accept them. How to learn, you can name your feelings, feel them deeply, identify the triggers when you are starting to have experience fear or hate. You hardly even know. That's you might also want to look it up. If you don't know it, it's a window about how much you know yourself and how much others understand who you are, and you have your black your black spots if others see you in a way you don't recognize yourself, and then others may start laughing at you because you have some behavior that is not apparent to yourself but to others. This is related to the value of responsibility, accountability, because you should be owner of your own emotions. You should be aware of it, and it leads to confidence. And then again, a third part of emotional intelligence is the competence to balance emotions, serenity, self-control, and you can learn this by meditation, being centered, being mindful, know your triggers, get feedback, and so on. And this is clearly then related to the values of respect. So emotional intelligence, put it together because we had 3 of the competencies around emotional intelligence. You might know it. On the top side of this slide, you see how you're treating yourself. On the left side, you see observing. as an observer looking at yourself. So this is self-awareness. You look at yourself and develop some self-awareness, and then you develop some confidence and some authenticity. If you know yourself, it's better than not knowing big parts of yourself. On the right-hand side, yourself, you're acting on yourself, you're controlling your emotions. You understand what triggers are there to start emotions, to start things that are not helpful for business and for your life. So this is mindfulness, and it builds your resilience, as we discussed before on your resilience. On the lower part, now you're not looking at yourself, but you're looking at others, at the outside world, at the context, if you want, And on the left side, observing the context is apathy. No, you learn, you understand others, even organizational awareness. And on the right hand side, you act on the context. This I call influence. We are trying to influence others, and this is leadership. So if you are a leader, a good leader, you are influencing others to follow you somehow, because you have a good vision, you act decisively, and you get in results, as you had before with Jusra. You have an impact on others. You can have success in handling conflicts, and you can have success in negotiations. So all of these four parts are somehow together, brought together, and glued together with the center part, which is you have to do it with compassion. It should be part of your personality. You have a self-motivation and the flow to do all four of these. And while yes, you should start working on yourself. It is really important also to do all four parts. By the way, the lower two parts you can look at as being stakeholder management in the project management context, because as stakeholders, you are identifying, analyzing stakeholders, and influencing, you are engaging with them, and maybe managing the expectations and whatever. This is in the book of Daniel Goleman, but there are many, many, many books of emotional intelligence, and ethics are a part of influencing. So if you influence others unethically, you are maybe damaging their outcomes. So you should have an ethical judgment about what you are doing when influencing others. And also self-awareness, as we told before, is understanding your own ethical judgments, behaviors, values. Fifth competency is knowledge about both facts and problem solving, so knowledge to survive and to strive. So the first knowledge about facts is assimilations, apply known themes, situations. This is heuristics. You have some shortcuts. You see something and you do it without looking at more data or having some calculations or rationality. No, heuristics are the mental shortcuts which have been proven beneficial to you, and you hope in this situation you observe will be also beneficial to you. This is assimilation knowledge. And you have accommodation knowledge. This is when you have new situations, you really have to understand how to get data, how to solve it, and how to maybe present different options and how to select them. So these are two kinds of knowledge that has to be separately built if you want to create these competencies. Examples, the Delphi Oracle, the Mentor, the Nesta, and how to learn, read, listen, connect, play, which is scenario planning for decision making, and design thinking again is something you can leverage here to improve your knowledge. Knowledge is related to humility, because the more you know, the less you know that you know. And another thing about the problem solving is from a management guru called Akov. He said it's better to dissolve a problem, so to not have a problem, to make a problem go away, than to solve it. And my personal experience really is maybe 50% of the problems that are presented to me are no problems anymore if we think about it a little bit more. So often as a team leader, as a leader, people come to you and have a big problem, whatever. And what are you doing? You're asking them about the problem, explain it again, and then maybe ask the question, why is that a problem? And then, yeah, in more than 50% of the cases, this happens, there was no problem anymore after some time, just talking, just thinking, just extending the views and having new perspectives and so on. Akov, he wrote a lot about decision making and management. Is a good author. He has also some lectures on YouTube. Contextualism, looking at the context. All events and all perceptions depend on the context. So this is the answer for most questions related to project management. It depends, which how should I estimate a project? It depends. It's very clear. How should I select my team member? It depends. Who is available, what is the task, which skill do I need, what are the core competencies, and so on. So the point is to learn to have convex, divergent thinking. Think outward, and then defocus. Don't focus on a perceived problem, but think wider and look at the context. Widen your viewpoint. Ask others. Get a mentor. These are all ways to become more contextualist. I also understood, that Chinese thinking, some Confucianism, some Taoism also is promoting this kind of view. Not so much on the target, on the goal, on the problem, but look in the full picture, and you will find ways to get out of there. This is related to honesty, to truth, to integrity, because if you take the whole universe into consideration, you cannot fail. It's always offering solutions. I said this, it depends is the answer to most questions. Relativism for values, tolerance for pluralism, or diversity, if you want, yeah. Pluralism is a little bit stronger than diversity. Diversity is you respect others, and you understand that. Pluralism is that you really leverage these different capabilities. And from 2001, I always worked in multicultural teams, I was working for a Japanese customer, Panasonic, in Europe with different European cultures, UK and France and Italy, different cultures, Germany also. And then we went to Russia, Russian culture, Japanese and German culture. Interesting, diverse teams and behaviors and understanding. But the leverage is if you can use all of these differences, and make them aware of each other, then you have a much wider capability to tackle any problem, because you have more perspectives, more value systems, more experience, and so on. So how to learn that? Delay responses, because your responses for immediate questions are always influenced by your value system. And if you delay responses, you give yourself time to think about how much do my values provide a biased response in this moment, Ask for reasons. Why are you thinking this? Why are you bringing that up? Because then you might understand that they also have a value system that's different. Travel the world. that's what I did. So I traveled about 100 countries, and it's really enriching. So that's why I come to Hong Kong. Hong Kong has a different value system than Japan. I'm going to Japan next week, and I'm meeting some good friends there, and I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, Japanese culture is different from Hong Kong culture, for sure. Read about other cultures, be open for strangers, approach strangers, say hello, smile, and then get close to human values that I presented to you, the 8 ones, because, probably the other person from the other culture can relate to all these 8 human values. So this is about the value of compassion, of care, of love, because you approach others with a positive, open ear, and in the end, it's striving towards what I call a global human hive. We are like bees on the globe, and we are working together. Unluckily, not everybody is working with everybody. There is a lot of emotions in the political systems. Um, uh, and I'm really sad about this kind of emotionally driven diversions we have in the world right now. There is a very good book about a global cultural system, a guy called Bazanes, a Mexican guy who was also working at the UN and was in the Mexican government, and he wrote about his experience about global culture, and he said, okay, basically in the globe we have only three hypercultures, he calls it. The culture of achievement, culture of joy, culture of honor, and they are described here. I don't read it. But on the bottom, the green field, when he somehow ranked countries, about 100 countries, in these cultures, and in the culture of achievement, Germany is really ranked high. Not the highest, I think US or something is highest, but it's number 9 on this list of 100. Hong Kong, a little bit in the middle, but also tending towards the culture of achievement. Then we have the culture of honor on the right-hand side, which is quite opposite to achievement. So we have culture of honor in Islamic law, pre-industrial, very big respect for tradition, Islam, Christian orthodoxy, Hinduism are religions related to this culture of honor. So you will find it in India, in Pakistan, but also maybe in Italy and so on. So the culture of honor, Germany is ranking quite low, and Hong Kong, again, about in the middle, a little bit more against low honor culture. And then in the middle, it's a culture of joy, relatively new, developed after World War II, and we find it in Latin America. Well, maybe because he is from Mexico, from Latin America, so he has a focus on that. And neither Germany nor, well, Hong Kong is very low on the culture of joy. So this is a book, very thick book, very hard to read. So I gave you the summary here on that slide, and it's just interesting to understand the different views on culture. Diversity in action. So I'm a volunteer of the PMI Germany chapter, and I'm a volunteer in that group, local groups Darmstadt. So it's around the city of Darmstadt. You might not know, south of Frankfurt. And we have 5 volunteers from 5 countries. And it's so enriching, and so you see the 5 countries. I'm the only German in that, and though we choose to have only English speaking events, webinars. We do 2 webinars a month, and these are the 5 people, and this is an example of diversity I really cherish, and I love to be part of that team. So the eighth competency is oriented towards sustainability. We talked about this becoming a good ancestor, but it's also about willpower. I'm not sure if you heard about that marshmallow experiment when kids of 2 or 3 ages, they were put in a room and there was a marshmallow in front of them. And the guy said, I'll go out and in 5 minutes I will come in. And if you ate the marshmallow, that's it. If you didn't eat it, you get the second one. About 50% of the kids ate the marshmallow, and they waited for the second marshmallow. This is a long-term thinking for kids with achievement here. But then, they came up and looked at the same kids after 20 years when they were 22, 23. And you know what? The guys with the willpower to not eat the marshmallow in the first hand, they had more successful lives. So, more mentally stable, more satisfied. So the willpower, the sustainability is a capability that makes you more stable. It's related to responsibility because you have responsibility for the future, not only for the immediately fulfillment of desires, and it's also related to strategic thinking. So there is no research on that, but that I know. But strategic thinking is certainly supported by having the willpower and having the ability to look beyond my own lifespan. Uncertainty tolerance, we talked a little bit about that. Well, the understanding that life is uncertainty. We will definitely die, and for 50%, this death will come totally unsuspected and immediately, So we have to accept nothing is predictable 100%, or controllable. So I started my life as a project manager as a control freak, and I'm now really happy to see people doing something else and a little bit chaos, After in the middle, I understood that creating chaos can be very healthy, to the team and to the project, because creating chaos gets you out of the comfort zone and makes you think about solutions and helping that. So how to build that, always prepare for multiple outcomes, strategize what you're doing, but don't become a prepper, who is spending all weekends in the woods in the tunnels you put in the woods. Recognize positive surprises, ask yourself what if questions, and if something comes, you say, I don't know, say it loud, say it to your team, be spontaneous, play games. So this might help you to really become more tolerant of uncertainty. What my motto is Panta Rei, and this means everything is in flow, and it's also related to a little bit, I don't want to open this discussion, but I like Taoism because it's a similar worldview, You will flow with the time, and then things will come up, and you grab these opportunities or you miss them. So it's about freedom, If you really tolerate uncertainty, you are totally free. You are autonomous. You can do what you want, And if you always like to plan and control, where is the freedom? Where is the ambiguity? Where is something you can create? So being tolerant of uncertainty means you are free of fear. If you want to be that, and it's certainly a mental healthy sign. And then the last competency is humility, humbleness, self-distance, Opposites are narcissism, envy, bragging, pride, exceptionalism, greed, fear of losing, and all these opposites you can find in high-ranking politicians on the world right now, and that's a pity, So how to learn that? Focus on others, be self-aware, do system thinking, holistic system thinking, And, if on your LinkedIn profile, it says, I'm Thomas Walenta, I have the PMP, PGP, ACP, blah, blah, blah. Remove that, because that's not being humble. You are who you are. You are a person and an individual and a human, and all the other stuff you can mention lower in your LinkedIn profile. But let them focus not on your PMP, but on your name and on your face. So it's a value, humility, and move from the subjective focus on yourself or on others to a situational view, to the context view again. It helps you become more humble. 10 competencies. Together, they will increase your wisdom. You will never, nobody is a wise person. Wisdom doesn't end. It needs permanent learning, permanent development, and permanent thinking about it. Think about these 8 universal human values, which are related to these 10 competencies, and improve your competencies to increase your wisdom level. Know your values and really try to do that. And you become more resilient towards any disruptions you may see, and you become more resilient towards mental problems. So, this song, and it's basically saying the same thing as my presentation. So these are the books or the articles I referenced in my presentation. A lot of things to read and to look at. I also put some of these books in my LinkedIn profile as an article. You can look this up, and I put my profile link in the chat at the beginning of the presentation. And now I leave it with you. I'm open for questions and comments, and I hope I could give you some good feeling this evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Thomas. So just open to the floor and see whether anyone have questions. If you have any question, you can type in chat room, or you can turn on your mic to ask as well. Yes, we should have a good trip in Japan this week. We got the comment from Coach Fei as well. Mastering the uncertainty is a challenge on its own. Yeah, very true.
Yes, and then maybe Georg, if you just recognize one of the areas where you want to focus on for yourself.
Yeah, let's see whether we have any questions from the floor. I actually, while I can ask one question to let you know to think. Hey, Thomas, actually, I have a question. Because sometimes for project manager, we always see dilemma, right? So on one side, we know the ethical, we know what we should do. But sometimes on the boss, they don't really care about how you do it. So they focus on result. They need you to do it immediately. So how do you balance this kind of viewpoint? For example, yeah, for the ethical way, we usually to take a long time, right? But sometimes if the boss is quick and dirty, then some some step or some procedure may be missed. How did you manage kind of dilemma in your career life before?
Yeah. So what I learned also from my Japanese clients and colleagues, is be patient, become patient. And actually, I was in Japan visiting the customer CIO, and some of my American colleagues were there, and they were asking questions and do this, do that. We have to understand and to decide. And his answer was, be patient. The point is also in looking at how to become an ethical person, it also says if you encounter a situation and you are pressured by the environment, by your boss, by your colleagues, whatever, by the customer, whatever, uh, try to take your time, calm down and enable rational and logical thinking. Because most of the decisions we take under pressure, we take under time constraints, are not the best decisions. And we know that, so make it a heuristics. That means an automatic behavior to reject immediately solutions, because in the end it will fall back on you, and probably you will have more work to clean it up than to have a solution within an hour or whatever. So you can always also reduce the maybe fear or anxiety of the people requesting a quick decision by telling them what you are doing and why you are doing that, and making them aware that you are not sleeping or whatever, you are taking care about their problem, but it will take a little bit time to be a thorough solution.
Yeah, thank you, Thomas. Totally agree. So definitely, when we need to have a high quality, it takes time. So don't just watch for the deadline only.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's also coming back to that, willpower and to that sustainability thinking, strategic thinking. So, which I explained. So, if you want to have a sustainable solution, it probably is not a quick solution. Give you another example. I had a team in Pune, India, who was working on customer issues. Customer has a bug or whatever, question, and there was a bug, and so they took care about it, and they had a solution within a day, which very much appreciated. But this problem showed up next week again. So it was just a quick solution to tackle the symptom. But it was not a solution that is sustainable, that would take care. So we had to have a very deep cultural discussion with our Indian team, because Indians are, from the culture point of view, they are looking for short-term solutions, quick, But Germans, as you know, if you have a German car or whatever, it's endurable. It should live for years, and so we were always looking for sustainable solutions. So we had this cultural adjustment to do, that they understand what we understand from a solution, which should be sustainable and not just stick for a week.
Yeah, thank you. Let's see whether we have any other questions from the floor. So you can turn on your mic or you can type in chat room if you have any question. If no worry. So I think Thomas already shared his LinkedIn in the chat already. So you can connect with Thomas in LinkedIn or ask any questions, especially the topic today is about wisdom. So we spend a lot of time in our whole life to learn knowledge. Yeah, but today, instead of knowledge, it's great that we have a chance to learn the wisdom from Thomas. Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you. It was my pleasure to
Thank
be
you.
with you.
So for all the members, please have to complete the efficient form. So the information is in the chat room. So if you have any suggestion for the future seminar, just let us know. Yeah, thanks for time and also thanks for filling the form as well. You can also scan the QR code on screen, or you can just click the link to fill the evaluation form. Yeah, thank you very much, Thomas. Yeah. Thank you, Jeffrey. I think today is our true honor to have invited Thomas as our PMI Previous Director to share the wisdom with us. I hope you all enjoyed the seminar tonight. So please be reminded to fill in the evaluation form and give us some suggestion in the future seminar. Yeah, if you have a question, Thomas is also very kind. He shared his link in the chat room as well. So welcome to connect him. Yeah, so that we can stay in touch. So our good friend Thomas from Germany. So hope next time you're not only traveling to Japan, come to Hong Kong as well. Find us.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we have a great time.
It's certainly on my bucket list. Yeah.
Okay, so I think most of you have already filled the evaluation. So once again, very round of applause to thank you, Thomas, for his great sharing, to share the wisdom, to help us to be a resilient leader. Yeah, sometimes the decision, you want the quality one, it takes time. So don't rush for it. And then thanks, Thomas, for sharing a lot of tools for us, a lot of focus sharings as well. Yeah, your share is truly inspiring to us. Thank you, Thomas. Have a good day, everyone. Have a good night and have a good day for Thomas. Yeah, thanks for your sharing from Germany. Thank you. Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you all. Thank you, Wilson. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Have a good day. Have a good evening for all members. Bye.